Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you all know, this show is all about sports and sports from all across the globe. Well, we know first things first, you can reach out to us on our social media handles, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That actually follows for Twitter, not only Twitter, also on Instagram. But what we'll do is we'll go to the headlines first. Yes, Pakistan versus South Africa, the second test. Yes, day 2, and Pakistan all out for 272. England versus India, first day, test day 1 underway. England won the toss and elected to bat. Tottenham versus Chelsea. Yes, Chelsea manages to score 1 goal over the penalty in the hands of Thomas Tuchel. And yes, All-Star NBA is definitely going to line up on the March 7th. We'll be discussing about that. Australian Open will surely go ahead despite the corona cases rise in Australia. All right, so that was basic headlines that I discussed with you guys. And yes, we are talking about the tour of South Africa to Pakistan. And yes, it was an interesting day 2 match when Pakistan elected to bat. And obviously they came to an all-out. So far, so good. There were a few ups and downs, which obviously happened on the day 1 as well. The major ups and downs was the initial fall of wicket, which definitely is one of the most crucial things that we'll be talking about. But not only that, there was a rain delay yesterday, but then Pakistan came back. Unfortunately, Babar Azam couldn't stay longer. Was out on 77 as soon as the innings started today on the day 2. But followed up with that, Fahim Ashraf manages to bring it back to life. He on 78 is definitely not out. One of the interesting parts for the country. But anyways, we still need to understand. Even Fawad Alam tried his best to put in all the effort that they could. Even though they have a good total for now, it's 272. They were all out on the 114th over in overall perspectives. But right now, South Africa is still slightly in a fix. They're trying to pace it up. But to discuss more about this entire match, we still have Adnan Qureshi. Adnan, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Alamdar. How are you?
I am well. How are you yourself?
Good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
Great.
Adnan, so let's start with the day 1 of the second test. Obviously, we still have that situation that actually brings us to the point that the openers are unable to perform. And as the one down element we talked about when we were earlier discussing is one of the most trickiest things for us. So how, because it becomes it brings in a lot of pressure on the one down person. And yes, Azhar Ali actually had to go through that pressure because the initial partnership couldn't really work out for long. So we'll start with that, and then obviously the analysis to Pakistan coming up to 272. And yes, right now South Africa is currently batting, but technically in a fix, but we'll surely go there as well. So how do you see the initial top order perspective for the country?
I think it's a recurring problem for Pakistan, Alamdar. We talked about it last time on your show as well. And I think these two openers are out of the league right now. I think they've been thrust into the national side at a they're not ready for international cricket as far as I can see it. Right. They don't have the technique. And this is putting a lot of pressure on the middle order, especially Azhar Ali, who I think would be a much better choice for opening the innings in Pakistan. And he's done it before. I don't know why they're playing him at one down. They should open the innings with him so he can be completely relaxed and play his natural game. It seems that he is under pressure when he comes in because this wicket falls very early. And then the one down position is a very key position. I think Babar Azam should be playing at one down and Azhar Ali should be opening. It's just putting a lot of pressure on the rest of the order because Fahim Ashraf saved us today. Yes. Fawad Alam last test. It's not going to happen all the time that a seven number batsman comes down and saves Pakistan. Right. And we should not be dependent on this. And I think Pakistan missed a trick, Alamdar. I think they should have scored about 350 on that in that first innings. 272 is not a par score. Right. We're lucky that South Africa is not at their full best right now. They're not very confident, and and that's why we're getting away with this. But a much better team would have put us in a lot of trouble. 272 is not a very good score, but for now, I'll take it because of the very weak opening partnership.
Yes. With regards to the opening partnership of South Africa, we'll come to that side as well. Let's talk about how Notze actually managed to, get 5 wickets. That's definitely one of the major key bowler for them and the key pacer who have actually managed to do so. And right now, obviously, we're seeing how South Africa is struggling in the initial overs. They can go the other way around. I mean, like the initial fall of wickets for South Africa is as devastating as it was for us. How do you see that impacting their performance?
Yeah, like I said, Alamdar, I mean, South Africa does not look at their best. For some reason, it seems they have a lack of motivation in this series. I mean, a player of the class of Faf du Plessis playing the shot that he just played and got out at a very crucial stage for them. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what's going on with the South Africans, but it's good for us. Being a Pakistani, I'm happy with that. But I just think that Pakistan might end up taking a lead in this first innings. This is just my prediction because of the very poor way that South Africa is taking on this match. And of course, Noman Ali is putting a lot of pressure on the batsman right now because he's bowled almost 5 maidens. He's not giving him any runs. And if Yasir Shah attacks right now, they might get another wicket before the close of play today. And that would really, really bolster their chances of taking a good commanding lead in this first innings. I see South Africa close to about 225 to 30 maybe.
I even the initial fall of wicket for South Africa, if you look at how Hassan Ali manages to, play, give those balls, take that initial spin, the initial wickets, it is definitely, and he was on a hat-trick chance, and then came the tea break, and we were hoping that if that would have happened, that would have definitely shattered the confidence of the South Africans. What do you think about that?
I think the spell by Hassan Ali was great. Again, not very good batting by the South Africans, but I mean, he was on a hat-trick, and if they can continue this pressure, the pitch seems to be a little difficult to bat on, to be very honest with you. And if these bowlers can exert some pressure, I mean, I would love to see some really aggressive field settings by Babar Azam right now, because the pressure is on South Africa right now. Pakistan needs to attack fast and get some more quick wickets and get into that lower order of the South Africans and definitely take about a 50 to 75 run lead in this first innings, considering they did not score a very big total in this first innings. But I still see that Pakistan has the upper hand.
Right. So initially, when Pakistan was batting first, as Notche manages to get like 5 wickets, being a pacer, how do you see the pitch changing? Because now it's supporting probably the bowler on the spinner side. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, historically, the Rawalpindi pitches have supported the seam bowlers. So I still think there's some juice in this pitch for the fast bowlers. There's no harm in maybe bringing on Shaheen Shah Afridi for a couple of overs if they have time right now. And seeing with Yasir Shah attacking from one side and just bringing Shaheen in for a couple of overs, throw in some short balls and see, because there's some juice in that wicket still. The way Hassan Ali got Van der Dusen, I believe. Yeah, Van der Dusen out first ball. So there's a lot of space for fast bowlers still. I think maybe even the first session tomorrow, you might see a little bit life in this pitch, and then it's going to start turning because a lot of cracks are developing already. So it's not going to be easy for Pakistan to bat in the second innings, let me tell you. And we might even have a result on the 4th day of this test. You just never know the way things are going right now. It seems like a difficult pitch.
Right. The initial drop catches that we were discussing from the keeper's end, obviously it's it would definitely have impacted more on the initial fall of wickets for South Africa. Even though, in my opinion, I think Mohammad Rizwan is actually so far so good. I think he's been a phenomenal keeper for us. But yes, a few blunders that we were discussing as well with regards to the LBW. That was basically how do you see that impacting Pakistan's way to that achievement of our goal actually?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rizwan's a great player, there's no doubt, but I think he's a little inexperienced right now. He dropped a very simple catch. You have to make catches like this in Test cricket. Reminds me of the days when we had Kamran Akmal as our wicketkeeper. He used to drop 5 to 6 catches a match. So you can't drop catches in a Test match. You have to be a keeper that's good enough to be able to do that. I still see some problems in his footwork behind the stumps, and that's probably why he's missed this catch, because he's not, going with the spinner. Keeping on a spinner is very difficult. But he'll learn with time, and I think that missing that LBW review was a big blunder. He should have let the bowler and the captain go ahead and let them, go for the review. He stopped the bowler. That really, put us back because we could have gotten another wicket. That was a plumb LBW.
Right.
And we missed a trick there. So yeah, Rizwan just needs a little bit more experience, but good player. He's a good player,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. With regards to the playing part, if we even look at the first match, I still remember how Rizwan actually managed to, that the Superman run out, if you remember. I think that was a phenomenal effort from him. And, I still feel the energy of our team is still on the positive side. And that is probably one of the things it kind of makes us hopeful. How do you see the body language?
I think the body language is good right now. These 3 wickets have really helped us. If they can get one more wicket tonight, I think we have a massive upper hand going into tomorrow's day and easily secure maybe a 75 to 50 run lead, at least a minimum of 50 runs.
Right.
But we cannot let, they still have de Kock to come. So you can't take Quinton de Kock lightly. So they need to get these wickets quick and get them fast. Like I said, bring in some aggressive field settings. I'd like to see silly mid on, both the players up and the batsman, a slip maybe, a leg slip with the leg spinner bowling. They need to really attack South Africa and try to get these wickets fast.
True. Anyways, we're definitely hopeful with regards to the entire perspective of how we'll be able to devise that plan and that strategy. But what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and once we're done with the break, we will come back and discuss more of what's happening in the world of sports. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back to the Sports Inside with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, we are discussing Pakistan versus South Africa, the second test underway. And we are still discussing with Adnan Qureshi. Adnan, so let's talk about South African side. We already know that Pakistan was 272 all out. It's still initial fall of wickets on South African side is definitely proving devastation for them. Thinking about Dean Elgar has not been able to come to that actual form that he had supposed to. Van der Dussen actually was out on the first ball as well. So how do you see their initial fall of wickets, like Du Plessis even initial wickets for them falling, because like I said, we initially talked about how Pakistan becomes this unpredictable when it comes to the top order, and now we see that same gameplay on South African side. How do you see their team now?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that, and I just said it to you earlier. There's something missing in the South African batting. They seem to be very low on motivation.
Right.
I have never seen South Africa bat like this. They're actually batting very poorly. Right. And I don't know why they're being so aggressive. They're trying to go for their shots very early on. Right. It just seems like that they're not confident about their game right now. Maybe there's some, internal politics going on in South Africa. I don't know. The team does not seem to be very gelled in. I mean, they all seem to be playing their own game. There seems to be no strategy from them. And I've never seen South Africa play like this, the way they're playing over here. So, which is a great bonus for Pakistan.
Right.
But they just seem to be very low on motivation, Alamdar. Right. I don't know what's going on. So.
Sometimes how I see on the sportsman's perspective is that, even with regards to Pakistan going to New Zealand, the same COVID situation, the quarantining situation, the isolation situations, maybe it does have an impact on a team's performance from the experience that we've seen so far. How do you see that?
Yeah, maybe when they're just tired of touring. Were they on a tour before this? Maybe within Sri Lanka, or they were somewhere else before.
Yes, they were in Sri Lanka. They won from Sri Lanka. They had 2 tests and they won from Sri Lanka, both of them. Yeah.
So it's probably taking a toll on them being away from their families for that long and the isolation and all of that. But I mean, I think that's just not the reason. There's some other reason as well. They just seem very not motivated. It seems like this tour has been pushed on them, and they have to do it. It doesn't seem like they want to do it. So there's a big difference in the two things. And when you have to do something, you're forced to do it. It just shows in your performance, and that's what's showing on the South African team right now. It's like a burden, and they just want to get it over with and get back home or something like that.
Yeah, de Kock actually did announce his retirement from captaincy, if you know about this.
Yeah, so that's probably disrupting them as well. Yes. That's probably disrupting them in the back of their mind. Your captain is not certain. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
So. And some of the big name players are not here either, but still, I mean, Du Plessis is one of the top players that South Africa's produced in the last couple of years, and he just seems like in a hurry. Dean Elgar is supposed to be a really good batsman.
Right.
I don't see him, staying at the wicket. It's just very unlike how South Africa plays generally. So they're out of character.
No,
Let's just say this.
definitely,
Yeah.
there would be definitely something surely missing. That is why they are in the state. But okay, let's talk about how much score do you think if they manage to do, if if they manage to not get the lead, how many runs do you think South Africa really truly needs, or Pakistan needs to ensure that we are on the victorious side?
So like I said before, I think Pakistan missed a trick by not scoring 350 on this pitch on the
Right,
first day wicket. They won the toss, they batted first. Again, the top order is a complete problem for Pakistan, which is putting a lot of pressure on the rest of the team.
right,
They should have scored 350. However, they've scored 272. In my opinion, if South Africa can be all out for about 225, 230,
right,
and we can pick up a 50 to 40 run lead, it'll help us. But if South Africa goes past our total, so any runs that are above the first innings lead is going to take a very heavy toll on this very weak Pakistan batting lineup, because in the second inning the ball is going to do more tricks. It's
right,
not going to be easy batting on the second innings, and if we don't, we need to give South Africa a fourth inning target of at least 250. I mean, that's
right,
the minimum to actually be secure in this match, because in the fourth inning it could be anybody's game. So if Pakistan only gets 150, 200 run lead, then South Africa can easily make a comeback in this game. So it's
right.
very crucial to get as big a lead as possible in this first innings.
Right.
Maybe get them out for 175. I'd be very happy if South Africa is all out for 175
Right.
or under 200.
Right.
That would really, really give us a very good cushion in the second innings.
Interesting. All right, so this was basic. We'll surely be talking about Pakistan versus South Africa in the longer terms. I hope all goes as per planned. There's another match that was happening, and we were deciding to talk more about it. Yes, we're talking more about now England versus India. So that's also another event that's underway, and obviously it's England with 263 for 3, where Joe Root actually managed to score 128 not out, and not only that, Dom Sibley actually managed to score 87, even though he was out. So their first inning is still underway. It's the first test of the 4 tests of England versus India series. So how do you see, because this is a very tricky, and I think with the numbers that are on the charts right now, how Joe Root actually managed to stay not out till 128 not out. How do you see this impacting India's performance? And because India has a great lineup with regards to the batting side. How do you see, how much score do you think England will be targeting on this first test?
I think India has missed a trick here by playing a typical Indian wicket. It's a very dead wicket, a batting paradise. I think England can probably end up scoring close to 600 runs, maybe 500 plus for sure, the way they're going. Joe Root is a fantastic player, one of my favorite players right now in current world cricket.
Right.
And he's still at the wicket. He's not out yet. And
Right.
I think India made a little mistake in their team selection as well. They should have played Siraj, that bowler who did so well in Australia, their new bowler, and then they played Ishant Sharma, who's probably out of practice, hasn't played in a while. So they probably made a mistake. They should have let Siraj play this game, and then they've actually packed their team with spinners. This is a batting paradise. India is going to come back and maybe score 400, 450, unless the pitch completely changes character and goes to a spinning wicket. Right now, it's a very dead wicket. I saw the game for a little while. Very easy pickings for the England batsmen. And they have a very long batting lineup, mind you this. So this is just the beginning. They might score 500 plus easily.
So that's going to be definitely an interesting situation. And obviously Virat Kohli is on board as well. So obviously he was missing in the last tour. Obviously he had his family commitments. So it's going to be an interesting if it remains that batting pitch. And even if Joe Root manages to bring the team, or even England manages to bring their score to 500 or 550 or 600, as you were talking about, we cannot doubt the idea that it's going to be Virat Kohli and the entire crew facing England. How do you see that going to? Because if it turns out to be the batting pitch, which it kind of shows, then it's definitely India has like batsmen till like the tail enders lineup, right?
Yeah, so India is a very strong batting lineup. They bat up to number 7, and I don't foresee them having too many problems on this pitch either, unless England really bowls out of their skin. I see a draw coming. That's my prediction. It possibly is going to be a draw.
Interesting.
Unless England is very aggressive and they can score some really quick runs in this first innings tomorrow and declare before lunch, and then try to put pressure on the Indian opening batsmen for about one session and
True.
maybe get a couple of quick Indian wickets. And they might play like that. They might be very aggressive in the morning, get to about 450 before the lunch break, and then just declare, and
Quite
then
possible.
put India in.
Right.
You never know what their strategy is, but right now they're looking good for about 500 plus.
Right. Interesting. So that's the second match that we've talked about. Let's talk about the third test that's underway, which is Bangladesh versus West Indies. Not to forget that Bangladesh on the first day managed to score 430, which was definitely a surprise for a lot of people, for all of those who actually watched, specifically with regards to Mehdi Hassan, who is one of their tail enders, who managed to score a century. And not only him, obviously, the whole perspective of the team and the attire of their performance changed. How do you see that impacting West Indies? Because West Indies, on their first inning, were out 259 and Bangladesh is leading by 218 runs. How do you see that impacting West Indies? Because there are so many stories that we've been hearing about West Indies, West Indians not having that coordination. They have their political issues going in their board. So how do you see this? Because there is no unity that we've been seeing from West Indies lately.
Yeah, for the longest time, Alamdar, we've been seeing this. The West Indies cricket has been in turmoil. It's been like this for a long time. So I don't think that's really going to be a big problem. But they've surrendered a very, very large first innings lead on a spinning wicket. But these three quick wickets that they've got in the second innings, if they can, if they can work further on this and get some more quick wickets in the morning and restrict Bangladesh to under about a 300-run target, which is not looking very possible. They still have 7 wickets to go, but the lead is 218 right now. So maybe if another 60, 70 runs and they get the entire team out, wishful thinking, it's not going to happen. But if it's an under 300 target, then maybe West Indies have a chance on a very, very dangerous fourth or fifth day test wicket. Is going to be a very spinning wicket, and Bangladesh is a team packed with spinners. I don't see West Indies winning this match. Wishful thinking. I think Bangladesh is going to win the test. But you just never know. If West Indies need to win, they need to get some early wickets tomorrow and restrict them to under 300, and then try even 300 is going to be a tall order.
Right. Let's hope for the best for them. I mean, like, at least if they try, they'll come up to that point. Anyways, these were the 3 matches that we've talked about. We'll just quickly sum up Pakistan versus South Africa. So what are the predictions? Quick ones, so that I have an idea that this is the prediction that you have. Besides the number that you gave me, of course. Besides that,
being a Pakistani, Pakistan's going to win this test match. Pakistan just needs to stay their course. They're in a good position right now, and I don't see too much confidence from the South Africans. So I think Pakistan is going to win the second test as well. The India match is going to be a draw. I feel India-England is going to be a draw. India has a very strong batting lineup. I don't see them falling short than 450. India will score that many. So there won't be much time left unless there's some big strategy change from England. They might change some strategy, and that might help them. But I think that's a draw. And I think Bangladesh is going to beat West Indies.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Adnan Qureshi, and the wisdom that you shared with us to cricket. And that was from the world of cricket. And yes, that was Adnan Qureshi. Well, besides that, let's move over to the next news of the day, which is Tottenham versus Chelsea. Yes, we're talking about English Premier League, and not to forget that Thomas Tuchel is actually ensuring that once he's joined in, Chelsea is on fire. So this Jorginho actually managed to get his hands on that penalty, which took them to the lead against Tottenham. So it is absolutely crazy, because recently the situation was that Frank Lampard was the main guy, the coach, who was forced to leave because there were too many losses for Chelsea. And instantaneously things have changed so much for them that currently they don't really understand how is it happening. But I'm really, really surprised to see how easy it is for them to work as a team after Thomas Tuchel came in. And not to forget that Tottenham at one point was literally on the top of the charts, but for now Tottenham is at number 8 because they've literally lost a few matches. Anyways, on top right now is Manchester City, and the number 2 is Manchester United, and Leicester City is at number 3, and Liverpool's number 4, and West Ham is at number 5. Well, anyways, that was news from the world of football. Let's switch over to the next news, which is with regards to NBA. Yes, with regards to NBA, let me put in, yes, there is an all-star game that is actually being planned for March the 7th. Initially, the game was planned on the 14th of February. But anyways, currently it's going to be LeBron James. That's one of the focal points. They're definitely having the press conferences as well. And besides that, not to forget that once this happens, the voting is on, and you can go online to vote for your favorite team, and you can have them on board, and it's going to be definitely an interesting thing to watch. It did happen last year as well, but due to COVID situation, I'm sure there will be some restrictions for people to go and watch it at the arena. So that was from the world of NBA, and let's come over to a story that we're talking about it for a while. Yes, we talk about Australian Open. From the world of tennis, Australian Open has been creating a lot of issues with regards to being delayed because of the coronavirus pandemic situation. Not to forget, I did mention that yesterday's news was that there was this one particular person working in the Grand Hyatt Hotel, who turned out to be corona positive, due to which all the people in the hotel actually ended up having their isolation and the coronavirus restrictions once again, 500 to 600 players. But anyways, they still say, Australian Open are still saying that we'll definitely be going ahead beside the coronavirus pandemic positive situation, and they'll make sure that all those who are in quarantine once they clear, they'll start that Australian Open, which has been waiting for a while. But anyways, that was from the world of sports for you all. I hope you guys had fun, enjoyed the show. Not to forget, you guys can reach us on the social media handles, which is Twitter and Instagram, which is @Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.